Top five, top five, top five.
Great sis.
King of the castle, king of the castle. I have a chair. I have a chair.
But that is not in my top 5 favorite movies based on true events or inspired by true events, however you want to put it. But why are we doing that? Because because it's not our movie, but it'll be nice because it seems like a really good movie. But One Night in Miami's coming out and it's inspired by true events.
That's true.
And I'm Strange Wayne. He's Nate. He's going to tell you how our top 5s work.
So he's going to give his 5 and 4. I'm going to give my 5 and 4. 3, 2, 3, 2. We'll trade off number ones. We also have something called the Zemeckis rule, which just means if we both end up having the same movie on our list, but one person has it 2 spots or higher, we won't talk about it until we get to it on theirs.
Yeah. So my number 5 is going to be the Titanic, or just Titanic as it's called. When you think of when this idea was put out there for us, I was like, One Night in Miami, because obviously that's why we're making the list. But the second movie I thought of was Titanic, and I'm not going to beat a dead horse. You know why it's on the list. But my number 4 is The Big Sick, which is great because, like my last pick, the Titanic or One Night in Miami even, you have all these ginormous historical figures or historical events. This is small. And it really happened to this future married couple who've been on a couple dates and then got in a coma, and then all this crazy stuff happens.
It's crazy.
Which leads them to this ending, which is very realistic, and it feels like a real movie because it happened to real people. These are real events that happened. But I love how it's so small, and it adds a bit of diversity to my list, and I like that a lot. So my number 4 is The Big Sick. And honestly, if we're talking any type of like romantic comedies list, it probably should be on it. I personally think this like non-biased top 10 greatest romantic comedies of all time. I love this movie, and I'm glad to put it on this list.
It was okay. It was okay. So my number 5 is going to be Argo. They basically tricked an entire country by pretending to make a movie. And they did a lot of pre-production on the movie just so they could sneak some people into a country to get some people out of that country. Something that should not in a million years ever work, but it did. And it really happened. It also won Best Picture. I go back and forth on how I feel about that, but it was a very good movie. So
you could even say it was very nice.
Right. Yeah. So my number 4 is Borat. No. No, my number 4 is The Big Short.
Technically, we could have put Borat 2 on the list because those events really happened.
But that's not based on real events. He's in character, but that is a documentary.
I don't know. We're just gotta find some list where we can put Borat on.
Yeah, there are definitely some scripted moments, and like they edit it to make it work for sure. But that is, if it's really happening, that's not based on a true story. That is unfortunately a true story.
Next week's list, some top 5 we can put Borat on. Subscribe, stay tuned.
Yeah. So my number 4 is The Big Short. It's about some guys who predicted the housing market crash.
That's an oxymoron.
And they made money off of it. But this film is like it's like the dialogue, the characters, like they added just the right amount of wackiness to it. So all the characters are just super interesting, very charismatic. They all have like their own little like kind of shtick, but like the dialogue in it is incredible. And like it's just another one of those things where it's like while the world was burning around them, like they were the only ones smart enough to take advantage of it, and I like that.
That's good. I'm glad you like that.
Yeah.
My number 3 is going to be a mid-game switch. Number 2 is now my number 3, and it is Dog Day Afternoon. Al Pacino in this bank robbery movie that really happened. Or was that Serpico?
Yikes.
Nah, this one really happened. Yeah, this is the bank robbery movie. I'm positive of it. He's a Vietnam veteran, comes back home, and like most Vietnam vets, like they didn't have shit to come home to, so he robs a bank because, like, this really happened. You can't write this shit. He robs the fucking bank, and they call his wife, and they're like, "Why is your husband robbing the bank?" And she's like, I don't fucking know. So they ask him, and like they get real like close, like as the movie progresses. And he's like, yeah, I'm trying to get my girlfriend sex change.
Huh.
So it's a man he's trying to turn into a woman.
Oh.
But his
And
wife,
she's got a great ass.
his wife doesn't know about it.
Nice.
So it's like all these crazy events that really happen coming, and like he robs it with like 2 other cats, and one guy he's a pussy. He drives off. He's actually the smartest guy in the movie because he drove off and left him.
Correct.
But this movie is insane. Like I said, it has all this and wacky, crazy stuff in it. So it just gets you invested because you're like, this really happened. And you every time something like that happens, because it is a real movie, you just invest yourself more into it. And now I'm talking about, I know why I put it as my number 2, but I think I made a good decision still. And like the tension, it has some happy moments, has some sad moments. You feel bad for these guys robbing the bank at a certain point, so it's very well directed, very well. And Al Pacino's this is like 70s Al Pacino, so the acting is like off the charts incredible. Like this is like one of those defining movies of the 70s and like 70s filmmaking. I'm a ginormous fan of that, and there's just not a bad scene in this movie. I don't know how realistic it is to like the actual plot, but at one of the best third acts of all time. My number 2 is a more recent film because it came out last year, and it had me on the edge of my seat. The investment was out the wazoo, and it's The Trial of the Chicago 7.
What's my number 3?
It was my number 3,
nice.
but I switched it. This movie is off the charts incredible. I love everything about this damn movie. The passion I have.
Sorry, it was that Al Pacino impression.
That no one asked for. The passion I have for this film watching it is off the charts. I'm not a big sports guy, but I've seen other people watch sports and get up and yell at the TV and throw their hands up and all this. And when they're in that courtroom with that judge, that cocksucker of a judge, that's what I'm doing. I'm yelling at my TV. I'm winning when they're winning. I'm losing when they're losing. I felt like I was a part of the 7, or like I was like in the courtroom with them as this like things happening. The top 4 movies I've ever been most invested in, this is in that list, and this up there with Jaws, Ex Machina, American Beauty. Even though I probably can't say that anymore.
Probably not.
But like the top 4 most invested movies I've ever been in my life. Well, Vertigo. I'll throw Vertigo in there too.
Oh yeah,
that was
Vertigo.
a phenomenal theater experience.
Yeah,
watching it at theater for the first time, incredible. I highly recommend it if your theater's open and playing it. Probably not because of COVID, but this movie, I wish I would have saw it in the theater.
That would have been cool.
Had that intimacy with it.
Yeah, that would have been a
crowd,
good theater movie. Yeah.
Like if saw this at the Nick, had that crowd that understands the good filmmaking.
Yeah.
And to be angry at once was as a crowd, that would have been a phenomenal theater experience. But get back to the film. Aaron Sorkin, incredible directing. Aaron Sorkin, even better dialogue.
Yeah, dude can write.
The fucking everyone in the movie is phenomenal at acting. Sacha Baron Cohen. I'm like, what the fuck is this guy? Well, I knew we'd get him in the video. Like, what the fuck is this dude doing? Because he's putting on one of the best performances of the year, and then he's playing Borat 2 weeks later. But the judge, honestly, like, if he doesn't win Best Supporting Actor,
the judge.
No,
or Sacha Baron Cohen.
No, the judge.
I don't think he was in it enough.
Bro, he pissed me off.
Yo, he did great.
I was livid.
Acting, he did great.
Yeah. It was also on your list, so
no, it was my number 3. And my 3 and 2 are interchangeable. I just I wanted to try to avoid recency bias because I fall victim to that a lot. So I was like, all right, I'll give this number 3 over the one that's been around longer.
That's why I asked.
Yeah. So everything that you just said, I wholeheartedly agree with. What a great story to tell. I hate sometimes that we don't hear about those stories until literally decades later. I wish that those stories like that were told as they were happening, But I'm still glad that those people's story got told the way that it did. I think it's a very powerful movie. I could go on and on about Sorkin. You said enough. He's incredible. Everything in that movie was perfectly cast. And like, Eddie Redmayne, I like him, but he just is really flat in a lot of roles sometimes.
I guess.
Like he's just so quirky, it's hard for him. But in this movie, it just worked because his character was supposed to be kind of that, Yeah. And I think my favorite thing about it, besides the how well made it was, how well acted it was, all of that, is that it also spurred me to go actually, since we're talking about movies based on real events, this one actually spurred me to go read about like what actually happened.
Same.
And that movie is fairly accurate in its portrayal, and it was a pleasure to learn about these real individuals. So, really like that movie.
Couple more things.
Can't wait to hear it talked about at awards season.
I really want to talk about this movie.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to talk about it some more.
Yeah.
But shout out.
Maybe it should have been a number one.
Yeah, for sure. Shout out to Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. Also came out last year.
Right.
Considered for this list. Because it has two main characters. It's not really falls in the biopic category.
Well, it's also based more. There's a lot more dramatization in that. It's
obviously,
not,
but that's okay.
Yeah.
But the other thing I wanted to say, you made a very good point that I never thought about, because once I finished school, I was like, see you later.
Yeah.
But when you said this thing should have been out way before the movie was out, the story,
Right.
I'm like, damn.
Which, like, it was accessible, but
Yeah.
it wasn't like served on the platter
Yeah.
for people to really hear about.
Like when you said that, I was like, Miss Dalrymple, what the fuck? Why didn't you teach us this in class? But then I thought about it, and I'm curious if it would have hit the same way for me.
Well, like,
Probably not.
yeah, you didn't care about this stuff when you were a teenager, but like, it's still stories like this that need to be told. Like, even if I heard it as a punk ass little high schooler who wouldn't have like been super impacted and appreciated
Nah,
it.
you would have borrowed that guy's books. Well, he said steal the book, so you would have stole the book.
Maybe. I probably would have over idolized Sacha Baron Cohen's character. For sure. But, because that's the little rebel.
Yeah, I mean, I saw you in high school. You used to wear cheese shirts.
So, but yeah, great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. So that was my number 3. My number 2 is Zodiac.
That was also very close.
Yeah.
To me, my Rainey's Black Bottom of that, like, it's like, man, we could honestly do a top 10.
Yeah.
It would have made a great top 10.
Yeah.
Ease. You got the greatest of
Yeah,
ease.
that's right.
David Fincher is an incredible director. This movie has a phenomenal cast, and like, I've said it before. I don't know that anyone will ever reach like the level of consistency that Hitchcock managed to do with suspense. But Fincher is like the closest thing that like our generation of movies has to Hitchcock in terms of building suspense into movies. They make very different movies.
So far.
Yeah.
What are they called? The Benny and the Safdie brothers.
Oh,
Their two films pack tons of tension, more like a Hitchcock style, where it's not really a full-on thriller, but you're thrilled throughout.
Yeah, their movies are very tense. I think to me, suspension and tense can go hand in hand, but are still very different. I need to watch more Safdie movies because I think the only one that I
two.
Okay, what's the second one?
Good Time and Uncut Gems.
Okay, I've seen both of those then. So
like, not every Hitchcock movie was Rear Window.
Yeah,
And
I get that.
Even Rear Window is like halfway a real movie about real people.
I get that. Anyways, this is about Fincher. The dude knows how to just pack absolute suspense into a film. And the thing is, it's like, by the time this movie's made, this story is old. We all know, everyone's been fascinated with serial killers for a long time. They definitely had a big resurgence since podcasting is a thing now. And people love some serial killer podcasts. But, like, everyone knows how this story goes. And it's still just, like,
I mean,
terrifying. Like, it's...
he never got caught, so the story,
Right. So, like, the amount of suspense. Also, like, I just love characters that are just like the quiet, smart character. Like they don't need to be big and flashy. They don't need to be Tony Stark, you know, which because Robert Downey Jr. is in that movie. They can be the quiet cartoonist who just can figure this stuff out. And then, but what I love about it is even though he was the quiet, nerdy guy who could figure this stuff out, they didn't make him like a no balls character. Like he's still at that dude's house going down in that freaking basement. Like he's still in the mix and all this stuff, and I love that. So like the chills that movie gives you, the way that it like sucks you into that time period. Because when this happened, like, you know, I was alive, but like not like I didn't know what was going on. I was like just alive.
You're old.
To suck you into that time period and help you feel like the dread that the public felt at that time surrounding what was going on, that's impressive, and I appreciate it.
I think it's impressive you was alive.
Yeah,
but
to be honest with you, I don't know what year that happened, and I'm just guessing. I might not have been.
Yeah, I don't think you were alive.
But it doesn't change the fact that, well, you always tell me I'm stupid old, so.
Yeah, but I don't think you were alive.
You don't know. What year did the Zodiac shit happen?
70s.
You don't know that.
I'll put it.
I'm not going to give you I'm not going to bet on a whole decade.
The 70s. You weren't alive in the fucking 70s.
That's true, but I'm saying
80s.
You don't know that it happened in the 70s, and also I wasn't alive in the 80s.
You could tell by just the way the movie
1990,
looks.
bitch, just made it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
You're right. I think it was well before then. So that's me talking off my ass. The point is that it still just sucks you into that time period.
Yeah, for sure.
To where you feel like you are experiencing it with everyone, and that is it's really good filmmaking.
My number one, probably got same number one.
80s.
Very good filmmaking. Bitch, you old, don't try to lie. I think this movie did take place in the 80s. It did not. But it's Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah, that's my number one.
So this is, again, and what led to my 1 through 3 were, that was based on a real story. Google. Rewatch. The same formula for all these, but this one,
mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah, Al Pacino's buying sex transplants for guys, but he's fucking flying planes, stealing money, running from the ops.
He's doctor.
Yes.
At one point, like
he's my hero. He's a shyster among shysters.
You need a therapist.
If there's a shyster crown, he would be the one wearing it.
That's true.
It would be like the player haters ball in the Chappelle Show, but with shysting, and he would be shyster of the year many years running. I should probably put a label on that and market it, but this is an incredible movie. The performances are out of this world. Spielberg.
Man, this dude's the GOAT.
Probably my favorite Steven Spielberg movie of all time, too, which that's...
Over Jaws?
Yeah, probably.
Wow.
That's a feat to say.
Dang.
I mean, this one says more personal stuff I like. Jaws is a much better film.
Yeah.
But
I don't know,
that's a favorite.
Yeah. I'm not saying that you're wrong for your favorite movie. It's just surprising.
It just hits more strings for me personally because of shysting. Like, this is the greatest shyster movie of all time.
That's true, it is.
It has a beautiful cat and mouse game. Tom Hanks playing a Tom Hanks role.
Right.
And that's fucking phenomenal as well. Leonardo DiCaprio.
Mm-hmm.
It's Leonardo DiCaprio, correct? I'm saying the same shit. This movie is incredible. 10 out of 10. This shit really happened, which makes it even more mind-blowing.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I watched it. I Googled. I was like, oh shit, this shit really happened.
Yeah.
Rewatched it again, but this time I took notes.
You realize that he ended up working for the feds for like 20-something years.
Yeah, I know. Job security.
100%. Again, everything you just said. I love the cat and mouse aspect of this, and I love cat and mouse aspects of things. I realized I watched this. I was telling you about it. I watched this like really crappy straight to TV movie with Tom Selleck in it the other day called Jesse Stone Cold. And one of the things that the movie did was it revealed who the killers were very early in the film, so we knew as an audience the whole time. And what I realized is that's kind of what separates like a cat and mouse from like a pure thriller or mystery. That not thriller, mystery. So there's like cat and mouse movies and then there's mystery movies. So it's like when we know ahead of time what's going on, it's this cat and mouse aspect versus the, oh my gosh, who is it? I don't know, blah, blah, blah. It's, oh my gosh, are they going to outsmart each other? Catch Me If You Can is the greatest cat and mouse movie of all time.
It's debatable!
No Country is up there as well. But, like, it's because of their relationship. That's what it is. And we've talked about this before, this film, the fact that, like, they talk and have conversations with each other. And it's like Tom Hanks' character becomes this weird father figure that, like, he needs to impress, but, like, can't let him catch him. And, like, I love that relationship so much. And the fact that, like, this stuff is real. Like these dudes ended up being friends and working together after all of this. And that is, like, there's like a redemption arc to that story as well. And I love that. And I think I also just really love the fact that, like, to him, like, it was just all a game. And, like, it became a way of life, and he falls deeper and deeper into it, as we see by, like, how frantic and crazy he is by the time he gets caught finally. But, like, I mean, talking about how crazy it is that Argo is something that actually happened, the fact that Catch Me If You Can is, like, legit things that actually happened blows my mind. It was a real life situation that was perfect for a movie, and, like, the real life situation is just as crazy as the film itself, and that is why it's my number one.
Very good number one. So I was thinking while you were talking,
That's dangerous.
We're going to push the untitled top 5. Got to put Borat on a list somewhere, top 5, 2 weeks back. Next week's going to be top 5 greatest cat and mouse game movies.
Well, my number one's been spoiled, but that's okay.
Well, I disagree with your number one, but you can guess what my number 2 is. So subscribe if you want to see that. And obviously, comment down below. Tell us your top 5 movies for your favorites for the events that really happened. Movies based on real events. Subscribe, hit the like button, share the video. And subscribe if you haven't already.